Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nona Windyani, and here I am with my friends Reza, Hakim, and also Muhammad Brillian and Syifa Qolbi. We're going to present about our research about the influence of Webtoon on student GPA. Next. This is our table of contents, and the first content that we're going to present is the reasons for title selection and also problem identification. The second one is research objectives and benefits, and then the third one is theoretical view. And then the fourth one is data collecting. The fifth one is data analysis with descriptive statistics. And then the last one is data analysis with inferential statistics. Next. Reasons for title selection and also problem identification, aka exploring data. Next. So the reason for this title selection is that the author chose the title of the influence of Webtoon on student GPA in this study by considering the following factors. The first one is entertainment media. Many students often use entertainment media as a place to spend their time having fun, and Webtoon as a digital environment medium that is becoming increasingly popular. Even at the time we conducted our research, many students have shared their positive experiences while reading webtoons on various social media, so that more and more readers are interested in starting to read webtoons. Grade point average based on the increasing number of readers and enthusiasts of webtoons, the researcher aimed to determine the extent of the impact of the webtoon applicant as an entertainment medium on the student's grade point average or GPA. This is because, according to the information gathered by the researcher, the more frequently students spend their time reading webtoons, the influence it has on the GPA they achieve. Next. This is the problem identification. So based on the background of the problem that has been previously described, several issues can be identified as follows. The first one is there is a webtoon entertainment media that affects student grade point average scores. The second one is there is a webtoon application that affects student achievement or goals rates. And then the last one is there's a webtoon application that affects student sensitivity to the surrounding environment. Next. This is the research objectives and benefits. So the research objective is something to be achieved in study. The objectives in implementing this research are to find out how big the impact or influence of webtoon entertainment media is on a GPA obtained by students. Research benefits are positive results or contribution that can be obtained from a study. In the results of the study, it is hoped that students can understand the effect of using the Webtoon application on GPA scores. And it is hoped that this research can provide a better understanding of whether the use of the Webtoon application has a positive, negative, or insignificant effect on student GPA scores. It is hoped that this research will raise awareness about the importance of balancing entertainment activities such as webtoon application and a focus on academic achievement. Researchers, students, and interested parties will be reminded to maintain a healthy balance between time spent on entertainment and academic endeavors. Next. Next. This is the theoretical review. So, entertainment media refers to various forms of communication and on content that are specifically designed to entertain and engage audiences. The primary purpose of entertainment media is to provide enjoyment, relaxation, and diversion for individuals and communities. It offers opportunities for people to escape from their daily routines, experience different narratives and perspectives, and immerse themselves into the fictional or creative worlds. Entertainment media aims to captivate and entertain audience through engaging storytelling, compelling visuals or audio, interactive elements, and also emotional experiences. Webtoon is a digital platform that provides comics or graphic stories in a vertical format that can be read through an application or website. This application allows users to access and read various types of webtoons using electronic devices such as smartphones, tablets, and also computers. The history of the Webtoon app started in South Korea in the early 20s, and never a Korean technology company launched their first Webtoon platform in 2004. Next. Collect data. This is all research data. Next. So for the data collection process, it is based on existing respondents, and we use the Google form as a data collection medium. So here, the title of this data collection Google form is the influence of Webtoon on student GPA. So in this data collection, we're asking the respondents some questions regarding the Webtoon and also their GPA. For example, in here, we're asking how many times do they read Webtoon, and then um, some of the respondents are answering 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, even more than 5 times, also zero, and then not at all. Next. This is the total grade point average value of students in 2023. So, for example, here for number one, Bayu Andika, he got 3.79 GPA, and then the hours that he spent on Webtoon is 3 hours per day. And then another example in here, we can see that Muhammad Ibrah Bayuara, he got 3.86 GPA, and then he spent 2 hours a day. Next. And for this is also the same. For example, Megara Stumirantika, she got 3.5 GPA and she spent 5 hours a day in Webtoon.
Okay, I will continue the materials from this slide, and we will discuss about data analysis with descriptive statistics. And descriptive statistics is a field of statistics that studies the methods of the data collections, organizations, and presentation in a research study. And descriptive statistics is a branch of statistics that summarize, present, and describe the data and in a readable format, providing comprehensive information. Descriptive statistics solely focus on breaking down or providing description of data, circumstance, and/or phenomena. In other words, it aims to provide an overall picture or general overview of the obtained data. So this is a graph of the data that we obtained from that was filled in by the relevant student. So the first thing that we do is measures of central tendency or numerical data presentation, and we calculate the mean values, and we got the mean values from the first data is 2.29, and we got the median value from the first data is 2. And next is we calculate the range values from the first data. Calculate the range values is max value minus minimum value, and we got the values is 2. So the next is we calculate the variance, and we got the variance is 1.445. And so next we calculate the standard deviations with formula stdiff.t, and we got the standard deviations is 1.202. And the next is we calculate the measures of positions, and we got the quartile one or first quartile is 1, and median or second quartile is 2, and we got the third quartile is 3. Next is we calculate the mean values with measures of central tendency from the second data, and we got the mean values from the second data is 3.404, and we got the median value from the second data is 3.425. Next is we calculate the range values from the second data, which is range value is max value minus minimum value, and we got the range value is 1.19. And the second steps is we calculate the variance values, and we got the variance values is 0.178. And the last steps we calculate the standard deviations with a formula stdiff.p, which is the formula of Excel, and we got the standard deviations values is 0.422. And the next is we do measures of positions, and we determine the first quartile is we got the value is 3, and for median or second quartile we got the 3.425, and the third quartile we got value is 3.825. And next is we will discuss about data analysis with inferential statistics. So inference statistics is a field of statistics that use analytical tools for drawing conclusions or making predictions about a large population. The purpose of inferential statistics is to compare the difference between groups, make generalizations about large populations, and draw conclusions based on a sample of the data. Inferential statistics go beyond descriptive statistics, which simply describe of a dataset. And from this slide, it will be continued by my friend Brillian.
Okay, thank you to Reza. Let's continue the presentation. In inferential statistics, we'll perform a hypothesis testing. We'll do the test to both of the data, which are the first one that we are going to test is the hourly rate of Webtoon, and the next data that we will test is the GPA of the students. In this hypothesis test, we have two hypotheses. The H0, which is the null hypothesis, is that sample of 48 data are normally distributed, and the alternative hypothesis for H1 is that sample of 48 data are not normally distributed. In this test, since the data that we have collected are less than 50 data, we're going to use the Sapir-Whorf test. The formula for Sapir-Whorf test is shown in the presentation. Then we find the mean of the data, which is 2.29, and the D, which equals to sigma of the data minus the mean square, which is equals to 67.92. Next. The next step that we want to do is we gather the data of the Sapir-Whorf coefficient, which is A. The next step that we do is we subtract the highest data in the sample with the lowest data and subtract the second highest with the second lowest and do it again and again until we have half of the data we discussed before. And using the coefficient table, we gather the alpha and we gather the A data and put it in the table, which you can see at the table at the column number 2. Then we multiply the second and third column by assigning the numbers from the table to the formula. We get 0.854. Since the value of n is 48 and the Shapiro with value is 0.854, it lies under alpha 0.01, which is 0.929. Thus, since p is less than alpha, which is 0.05, HO or the null hypothesis is rejected, so that we can conclude that the sample of 48 students GPA are not normally distributed. Next. After processing the data for the hourly rate of Webtoon, we then test the data for the GPA. We got two hypotheses as well. The null hypothesis or H0 is that sample of 48 data are normally distributed, and the alternative hypothesis for H1 is that sample of 48 data are not normally distributed. We have the structural formula in the below it, and we have the mean of the data, which is 3.4, and the D, which is sigma of the data minus mean squared, which is 8.36. Next. Once again, we will subtract the highest value of the data with the lowest value, and then we subtract the second highest with the second lowest, and we do it again and again until we get half of the data, which is 24 out of 48. We again gather the A data from the coefficient table, and finally we multiply the A values with the values that we subtracted before. Assigning this value to the Shapiro-Wilk formula, we get 0.859. The value of n is 48 and the Shapiro-Wilk value is 0.859, lies under alpha 0.01, which is equals to 0.929. Thus, since p is less than alpha, which equals to 0.05, the null hypothesis is rejected. We can conclude that the sample of 48 students GPA are not normally distributed. Next. Correlation analysis. Correlation analysis is a statistical technique that gives insight of the strength and direction of the relationship between two or more variables. One of the most common ways to measure correlation is by using Pearson correlation coefficient, which is a number between -1 and 1 that indicates how linearly related two variables are. A value of 1 means a perfect positive correlation. A value of -1 means a perfect negative correlation. And the value of 0 means no correlation at all. Next. In this correlation analysis, we have two hypotheses as well. The null hypothesis or H0 is that there is no correlation between the hourly rate of time per day of reading Webtoon and GPA score, while the alternative hypothesis or H1 is that there is a correlation between the hourly rate of time per day of reading Webtoon and GPA score. The significant level for alpha that we use is 5%, and in this test, or analysis, we use the experiment time correlation test, which the formula is shown in the slide. In experiments rank correlation testing, we are required to rank the data from the highest data all the way to the lowest data. In this case, we have a lot of tight ranks, which is, for example, let's see data number 1, 2, and 3. They have the same value, so their ranks are tight, as well as number 4, 5, 6, and 7. They have the same value, and which makes their rank are tight. And for this test to work, we need to calculate the average rank of each type values or ranks. Next. And so as for the GPA, we first rank from the highest to lowest values, and we calculate the average ranks for the type ranks. For example, number 4 and 5 has the same value, which is 3.9. Thus, we need to calculate the average rank, which we get 4.5. Next. Having the average rank calculated, we finally can calculate the actual rank of both of the data. In this table, we have several columns. The first column is the number of the data. The next column is the hourly rate of reading the Webtoon per day. The next column is the GPA score, and the RX column is the rank of the hourly rate. The RY column is the rank of the GPA. The D is the differences of the rank, which is basically RX minus RY. And the last column is the D square. Next. We finally can assign all those values to the formula. And by calculating the formula, we get the value of 0.0496. If the experiments rank test value is greater than the R table, the null hypothesis will be rejected. Now, since the value of experiment is 0.0496 and it is less than 0.284, then H1 or the alternative hypothesis is rejected. We can conclude that there is no correlation between the hourly rate of time per day of reading Webtoon and GPA score. Next. Alright, so that's the end of our presentation. Thank you for your attention and have a great day. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.